Hey guys, it's Graham. What's crackin'? Apparently the nation of Czechoslovakia was crackin' 30 years ago. Why is Graham talking about Czechoslovakia? Well, if you read the article that I wrote on DreadPennies last week, you'll know that sci-fi and fantasy author Larry Correia has an anthology coming out set in his Monster Hunter universe, exclusively in the Czech language by a Czech publisher for the Czech people. As far as I understand, this is going to be canon. It'll officially tie into the universe. They approached him, they said, we want to do this. He's very popular in the Czech Republic. I've seen some of the covers over the years over there, for his popular series, like the Grim Noir Chronicles. The Czech covers are way cooler than they are in English. So, they really like his stuff. Apparently it's a good fit for their lore and their culture. And he announced on his Facebook page, he showed the cover for this forthcoming anthology. I'm sure I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. I believe it's called Lovčí monster FANTOM. FANTOM is the name of the press, the Czech press that publishes his books over there. And so the anthology is, Monster Hunter FANTOM. Which is cool. I'm excited for him to have this level of success. I think it's cool that the Czech fans get to have this. But one thing Larry mentioned is that there aren't really any plans for this anthology to be translated into English. And Michael Jordan meme here, I took that personally. I thought, well, wouldn't I just be able to get an ebook copy and run it through Google Translate? And I kind of said that as a joke, and then I started thinking about it. I thought, why not? Now, I'm bilingual. As a student of language, I know that that's not going to work flawlessly. I know there are going to be big obstacles to that, but I'm not opposed to giving it a shot. I found FANTOM's website. I messaged I hit the contact page and messaged the people there. Ran a message of my own through Google Translate from English into Czech. Just said, here's the skinny. I'm an American reader. I would like to read this. Is there going to be an ebook version? They got back to me in English. Well, no, the first time they wrote back in Czech, and then I updated all that on the site. Well, just this week, another one of their reps, somebody named Alexandra, wrote back and said, hey, we saw your post and we're aware of what you want to do. You're not the only one who's interested in this in English, and so we're trying to figure out what it would take to get that to happen. I'm not going to divulge too many more details of the back and forth in the email, just in case it's internal stuff. They're not making public announcements about it, so I don't want to cause them any headaches. It was really cool to have some back and forth with them. I mentioned to them, is I lived in Europe briefly. I'm very familiar with the Romance cultures, Spanish, Italian, French, Portuguese, and all that. I'm less well versed in Czech, Polish, Hungarian, but I gave the Witcher novels a good run. Those are very definitively Polish. Haven't delved into anything Hungarian. I wouldn't mind looking into the Czech stuff. And Alexandra wrote back, she goes, yeah, don't forget Slovakia. They used to be part of the family, but I guess officially we're divorced now. Nope, this lady's not even looking. Go ahead, you're on the right. Jeez. Amazing people. This happens to me every freaking day. And I said, oh yeah, Czechoslovakia. I remember learning about that country in the second or third grade, and I got annoyed because right around the time that I figured out how to spell it, it stopped being a country. And yeah, 1st of January 1993, they officially dissolved and became the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So, you got a country that's the size of South Carolina with a population of Chicago, and they were very, very adamantly like, we want to have our own culture and our own language, and we're tired of you Slovaks next door. We'll be our own thing. That brings me to one of the obstacles of translating a book like this, especially because with it being for the Czech culture, and Alexandra mentioned this in the emails, it's going to be heavily reliant on kind of in-house, in-culture knowledge, with puns, jokes, folklore, culture, monsters and stuff. I assume there's going to be a fair amount of it that won't make sense to somebody that isn't familiar with that. Hence that's the challenge of it being a book written for that culture in their language. But I'm still intrigued by the intellectual effort that it would take to get to know all that stuff. Especially because we live in the age of easily accessible digital information. Suppose I run this thing through Google Translate and the egg beater isn't able to break up a couple of words. It'll say, here's this thing, there's no translation for this particular critter in English. This is just what it is. Okay, cool. That gives me a rabbit hole to chase down. It could probably take me a while to do that, especially because I have zero familiarity with the Czech language. The only Czech word that I know is robot, which they invented. Which we use in English now for these easy labor machines. That's a word that they gave us. It's their word, or it's derived from the Czech word for labor. Karel Čapek, maybe I could be butchering that pronunciation, invented that term in a screenplay or a script for a play that he wrote several decades ago called Rossum's Universal Robots, which I believe I covered on my podcast back in 2019. Anyway, out of the weeds, back on track. The point is, it would give me a chance to learn more about the Czech people and their language and their folklore, and do some videos here about it, and help to kind of broaden the knowledge base of Monster Hunter readers as they delve into this new anthology. Hopefully the short stories will all be good. Like I said, I gave a good solid run at the Witcher novels, those Polish novels. And those were translated professionally, but I struggled to get into them, to be perfectly honest. I understand that the games are very popular and the series had some popularity before it got derailed by Netflix ideologues, but that's another story. The novels and the games have enjoyed tremendous success. I've tried reading the novels, didn't really click for me. I'm sure that cultural differences, my lack of broad knowledge about Polish, had some role to play in that, but I was also listening to them on audio. I'm sure if I was sitting there reading them in print and coming across this, like, okay, what if I were to go learn more about the Polish culture and what this is and why this is relevant enough for Andrzej Sapkowski to tell a story about it? With this Czech anthology being an anthology, it'll be a little bit more bite-sized and compartmentalized and digestible in that sense. I won't have to learn, 100 things to understand one story. Maybe I can start by just learning 5, 6, 7, as many as 10 things for one story, come up for air, read something else, go back into it. This could be a long and protracted thing, but the idea of the challenge hasn't left me alone in the last week. I find it very interesting and I'm excited to get to pursue it. Another one of Larry's readers from the Czech Republic added me as a friend on Facebook, said that he could get me a print copy because FANTOM doesn't ship to the US. They can find ways, but it's arduous. Apparently it's easier for just some random guy to be able to grab one and drop it in the mail. I'm sure it'll cost a pretty penny. But that way I can have a print copy for my library. I am a completionist. In the meantime, I can get the ebook when it comes out, which will be next month. Dates haven't been announced yet. All the publisher has said is that it will be in April. So as always, keep an eye on this space. I'm definitely going to be reviewing more Larry books. I did a video last year that was just kind of a general summary of the MHI books. And it's coming up on 700 views. I'm a very small channel. 700 for me is pretty high. I've only got 2 videos over 1,000 and one of them is about a manga. So I'm starting to get an idea of what you people want. Anyway, thanks for watching this long. I appreciate it. Drive safe. See you out there.